All right, man. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever. Jim Carrey. Um, I'm just here to chat and chill, man. And look, we're gonna talk about life. And here's the thing. You can lurk and roll. I'm sorry. You can lurk or you can just click roll. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still gonna have a good time. I'm here enjoying myself, whether I'm talking to zero people or I'm talking to 1,000. I prefer 1,000 because we could have a good conversation then. And, you know, you could talk. I could talk. You could ask questions. I could ask questions. And we could get somewhere. As opposed to you just sitting there listening to someone rant and rave for fucking 3 hours, 6 hours. Or you have to listen to politics for 6 fucking hours. You got to listen to ICE agents for 6 fucking hours. You got to listen to all these rumors and shit and Twitch streamers bitching at each other and calling each other names for 6 fucking hours. I don't find anything fun about that. Like I don't find anything exciting about that. And again, it's not what I'm here for, man. I'm here to kind of just have a good time and chat and talk about life and experiences, and maybe some of that will rub off on somebody. Maybe it'll help somebody understand something or approach things a little differently. I don't know. I mean, nobody knows. I'm just testing something here. For some reason, this isn't working. So let me double check something here. Hold on. Twitch isn't showing as live here. See if I can fix it. Let's see if this changes things. All right, now it works. Okay, why don't you do a dot? Dismiss that ad. We don't need to add right off the beginning. So, you know, before I decided to get on today and talk about what I wanted to talk about, I went to the store. Went to the store to get some of this. Now, I haven't bought any of this in like 3 or 4 days, which is pretty good because at one point I was buying an 18 pack almost every day. Now, I'm not necessarily saying I'm an alcoholic. What I'm saying is it's a cope. It's not an addiction. So, I went the last 4 days without it. So, it's to me, I don't think that's an addiction. I think it's more or less a cope to kind of deal with things. And as you get older, you kind of think differently about stuff. And you kind of approach the world a little differently. And anyway, I was out. I went to the store. The guy that runs the liquor store, he's a pretty good friend. We talk all the time about sports. I think he's a pretty cool guy. He's an older guy like me. We relate pretty well because he's been through the same situations I've had in life. Parents passing away, wife cheating on you, shit like that. You know what I mean? It's like you can have a friend because you relate. You don't just have a friend just to have a friend. You have a friend because you can have conversations about shit because they understand what you've been through. So that's not what this is about. So on the way back, now it's been below freezing ever since the snowstorm 2 weekends ago. I think the highest it got before today was 16 degrees. So all the snow and ice we got, none of it's melted. So the roads are all still fucked. And I live on the back road. I live out in the back roads. I live out in the country. Um, So you have to kind of go slow, man. I got a sports car. I don't have a big ass truck. I don't have a little dick. I don't need a big ass pickup truck. So it sits low to the ground. So I got to drive a little careful, you know. So I'm taking my time because there's ice, but of course you got the big truck behind you riding your fucking ass. And I just don't see why it's necessary that someone has to be that aggressive. Are you in that hurry to die? Are you in that much of a hurry to kill yourself and somebody else? Because if that's what you're trying to do, you can take your time because you can do it whenever you want to. It doesn't have to be now, you know? And I sat there thinking to myself as I was kind of mentally preparing for this that, you know, I'm going to bring this up when I get on there. It's going to be one of the first things I talk about. And what I thought about in the car was like, you know, as I pulled into my development and he goes by, I had the window down because I was smoking a cigarette. I could have yelled something out to the person. I'm sure it was a guy. But I'm like, what's that going to solve? You know, what is that going to do? It's not going to change the past. It's not going to change what just happened. All it's going to do is ruin my future. Actually, my present and my future. I'm going to be angry because he probably didn't hear me. And I wasted that negative energy on saying something to him. I'm driving through my neighborhood to get to my house, lug my beer into the fucking house, take my shoes off, put the beer in the fridge here, and get all set up here with all the computers and everything. And I've been thinking about that guy the whole fucking time. Like I am right now. But I'm thinking about it in a softer tone, in a softer term. Like I'm not angry about it. I feel good because, you know what? I didn't let it get to me. I didn't waste any of my energy on that fucking guy. I just 2 hands on the fucking wheel, even used the turn signal, and I took my time turning into the fucking development. I slowed down to as slow as I could possibly go, and then slowly went in, and he has to peel off on ice, and he lost a little bit of control. He had a little bit of a tail going on there. So, and the other end of that is if, you know, you say something negative to the person, you don't know who the hell's driving that truck, man. One, he could be rushing home because his wife is in labor. He's rushing to his father's house because his father's dying or something. Or the guy could be a psycho. And he's got a fucking gun in the car. Like, you don't know, right? So you have to kind of factor all this in quickly. And for anybody who's young and doesn't really ever have to deal with all this, you know, I'm sorry, but it's like, one day you will have to decide, is it worth it or is it not worth it? And let me tell you, as we get into my topics tonight, it's never worth it. All right? Just know that. It's never worth it, okay? Because, again, that dude could follow you all the way home, and I've had that happen to me. But once they get to your property, it's a different story. You know what I'm saying? But I've had that happen many years ago. 15, 20 years ago, something like that, when I was stupider. I'm smarter now. And you make these comments, and, man, you never know what the outcome's going to be. You either go home, you don't say words, you go home, you go in your house, you enjoy the rest of your evening, you wake up tomorrow morning, you start all over again. Or the guy could be a psycho and he ends up killing your ass. You know what I mean? He ends up pulling a gun out and shooting you in the face 3 or 4 times, you know? And then what's it all for? All you did was make him better. All you do is make him happier, basically. Until he gets arrested, of course. I got 4 cameras on the front of my house, so my neighbors have cameras, but yeah. But the take from that is it's just not worth it. It's not worth it, okay? So don't let people agitate you or piss you off. It's not worth your energy, man. Save that energy for something else. Exercising, cleaning the house, walking the dog, cleaning the cat litter, doing your laundry, which is I got another funny story for you that has to do with laundry. I was a little lazy this week, and I got a funny laundry story. I recovered. But, doing things around the house or just going over to a friend's house, your parents' house, and seeing if they're okay. Save your energy for stuff like that, man. It's just not worth it. But anyway, before I get started, I put my laundry in yesterday morning in the washer. And now, I love my washer and dryer, both Samsung products. And aside from my computers, everything I own in the house is Samsung product. All of it. Everything. Except for my phone and my watch. I do it, but their phones suck. Their phones just suck. I put my laundry in yesterday morning. It was around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And I just got so sidetracked yesterday and so bored out of my mind and fucking lazy, working on editing things and stuff like that, videos. Totally forgot about it. So, you may know where I'm going with this after I say this next thing, but it was, I think, 8 degrees last night. So, I go downstairs this morning to make coffee. I'm like, fuck, forgot the laundry. So I went to go throw it into the dryer, and it was all stiff as a fucking board, dude. My laundry room is butted right up. It's right on. It shares a wall with my garage. And I'm sorry, I don't have any heat in the garage, so it's cold as shit in there. So yeah, all the clothing in there, it was all one solid block of ice. Now trying to pull, and I had like a week's worth of laundry in there, so it was a big pile. So I had to pull that shit up, kind of slam it down, break it like an ice cube tray, right? And then piece by piece put it in the dryer. I had to run the dryer 3 times. 3 times. But now I love my products, but what I hate about the washer and the dryer is my washer runs for about 45 minutes. On heavy load, 45 minutes. Dryer, it's like 2 hours. 2.5 hours before it's done. I waited 2.5 hours to go down there and say, all right, it's done. I need to get the clothes out. There's still fucking 15 minutes left on that shit. I'm like, God damn, hurry up, dude. Now, I appreciate it when it comes out nice and warm and toasty, especially when it's cold out and that it smells great. But that's way too long, man. Heat that shit up. Anyway, so, I have topics, and I kind of wanted to break this down over several days because I'm kind of, I wanted to do streaming with games because I started out, I consider myself an OG gamer, an OG online gamer. I played the very first gaming console as a child, Pong. I played the very first one as a kid when it came out. I played one of the very first, and I wasn't the first person to ever play the first game, but I was on one of the very first online gaming systems before it was on a computer. So it started out on a thing called X-Band. It was a modem. And you could only play this at the beginning. You could only play this on Sega Genesis. So it was a modem that where you put the game into, you put the modem in there like it's a game cartridge. And then you put the game on top. Now, this modem, the X-Band only, I think, worked on about maybe 10 games, maybe 12 games were compatible with it. And the ones I played were NHL. It was NHL 95. So it was 1995 when I first started. No, I'm sorry, NHL 94. NHL 94. Madden, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. There was 2 or 3 other games. I can't remember what they were. There were some fighting games. Only a couple sports games. Oh, NBA. I think NBA Jam was one of them. I think. There was an NBA game, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, then it came out for Super Nintendo. Like, he had, it was Sega Genesis and Nintendo were the 2 at the time. After Atari and ColecoVision and Pong. But you had Nintendo, Sega Genesis. That was pretty much the only ones in existence at the moment. PCs were still fairly new. Hewlett Packard was the big computer then. I think the iMacs just started coming out. The home computers, Texas Instruments, but you couldn't do shit on them except for create files, and that was it. It was more like a DOS computer, just making programs with DOS and shit like that. And everything was on a floppy disk. Well, it was a hard disk, not a floppy disk, about yay big, a plastic disk that you would save shit on. And then no, I think it started out with floppy disks first. They were about this big, the size of a CD case, and then I think it went to the hard case. But then CDs. But Sega Genesis it was the only one that was online. It was only way you could play online games, and the modem had a phone cord jack into it. So there was no cell phones back then. No cell phones, no Wi-Fi, no internet really. So the only way you could do this was you had a phone jack on the wall. It's usually a little box at the bottom of your wall, at the base of your wall, or it's a plate on your wall, like a light switch. So you have to plug the phone cord into that and then into the modem, and it would dial up into this is the best part. So the servers were in Cupertino, California. I have trouble saying that. So I'm in Philadelphia, and back then, anything outside the state was a long-distance phone call, which cost you an arm and a leg. Shit. Calling 2 counties over was a long-distance phone call back then. Now you can call anywhere, it's not long distance. Except for maybe overseas, I don't know. So it was roughly $20 to $25 an hour to play the game. So you could really, I was still... In 94, I was 21 years old. 21 years old. Just started working. A couple years into work. I didn't have a lot of money. It was me and my girlfriend that we were together for 10 years. Had a small little shitty apartment. And we lived in... I'm from the Philadelphia area, but I met her in Delaware, so we were living in Wilmington, Delaware. It's like northern Delaware, it's right on, almost on the border of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So we got a place in Delaware because everything's cheaper there, no sales tax and shit. So I could only do like 2 hours a day at most, and that's $40 to $50. And I couldn't do it every day because she would kick my ass. Because $40 a day, 7 days a week, that's $280 a week. It's over $1,000 phone bill just from that. That doesn't count phone calls. You know what I mean? Now, luckily, her parents lived not even 5 miles away, so she didn't have to make long distance phone calls. My parents lived close as well, so we were good with that. But yeah, that was my first experiences of online gaming. But the world was so much different back then, and I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of people my age. Probably almost everybody my age who's still alive. Well, I probably dead too, wish they could go back, but everybody probably wishes they could go back and do it all over again and experience that time again. And I'll tell you why. There's several reasons why. Except for maybe those who have just great families, a loving spouse, husband or wife. I don't do the partner thing. It's husband or wife, okay? You have a great husband or wife. You have beautiful children, a great family, a wonderful career, a beautiful house. And you don't really have any problems, so why go back, right? Everything's great now. But I'm not saying my life is horrible, but the nostalgia of back then, and there's many things that brings back nostalgia of that time. And it's not just playing games. That's the point I was getting to. Like, I wanted to do this for playing games because I got to experience that back then. And online competitive gaming was fucking insane back then. Now, you didn't have chat rooms in these games. It was just straight up playing a game. The only time you could communicate with the person you were playing with was when the game was over, and there was a small chat room after the game where just the two of you could talk. And that's usually when everybody was talking shit to each other. You know what I mean? Now, you have, like, this. or speakers, and there's TeamSpeak if that still exists. You have Discord. You have most games have built-in fucking chat rooms on the screen, or servers where you can hear everything they're saying. And you guys can like bitch at each other like Call of Duty and stuff. We didn't have that back then, and I can't imagine doing that today. There's some games that I've chosen to play where I don't have to deal with that because I don't like that aspect of online gaming. I prefer not having to deal with that shit. Now, I do play one game where there's a chat on the screen, but it doesn't bother me that much because I can cover it up. I can get rid of it. I can cover it up. I can just dismiss it or whatever. But yeah, the nostalgia of playing those games back then, you were playing games against someone you had no idea who they were. No fucking clue who they were. Didn't know what they looked like. Didn't know if they were a guy or a girl. I mean, they could pretend they were a girl and still be a guy, and you wouldn't fucking know it. Only thing you could do is try to quiz them on all things women, right? And that's when you have a girlfriend, she could ask the questions. But, and I think that's what's made the games more fun is you didn't know who the hell you were playing. And I don't remember. I think when you would dial in, you'd start the game, and it would do a game search, trying to match you with someone based on your level. Unlike today. And when the player screen came up, they'd have their name, their gamer tag, the logo, and I can't remember if it said what part of the country they were from. If it listed like the state or the city, I can't remember. I feel like it did. It did. It had the city and the state. Whatever the city closest to it was, the area code. I played people from Philadelphia, my area, for people from Saginaw, Michigan, Beacon, New York, New York, Bronx, New York. Nobody from overseas. It was only stuff from California. Arkansas, Florida, all over the place. And it was great. And I still remember a lot of the gamer tags from back then. And my gamer tag was anxiety. ANXIETY. Capital X in the middle. And that was also my license plate on my car. I had a vanity tag, was anxiety. I just thought it was a cool word. Gamer tags were like bulging twine, which I use as a gamer tag once in a while because I thought it's a hockey term. So it's one of the coolest gamer tags I ever saw. And I also think it's funny. Skullman, Insomnia. I mean, there were some really great fucking gamer tags back then. Eagle Eye, stuff like that. Grandpa Puck, because I mostly played hockey. But the gamer tags were cool back then. And you could have symbols before and after your name. Like most of the time nowadays, you have to create a username. You can't put a symbol first. But on that game, you could put like 85 fucking symbols and then the rest of your name. Pandemonium was another name that I remember playing against. He was fucking great. Yeah, I mean, it was good times back then. And then that led to online gaming on PCs. So X-Band did not last long. I think it lasted about 3 years max. And my girlfriend and I, we had moved to Virginia. I had a relative that lived in Richmond. So we moved down there. I think that was in the year like 1997 or something like that. I might get my years wrong because this is like 30 years ago, okay? But we moved to Richmond, Virginia because I had a family member down there, a cousin. And I just wanted to get out of the Philadelphia area. I couldn't stand it up there, the traffic and all that shit. Jobs weren't really that great at it back then. So I moved down there. He got me a job at a restaurant. He was a chef. He got me a job at a restaurant. So I enjoyed that. And, we got an apartment. If anybody is from Richmond, Virginia, or has been there, I lived off Hull Street, South Richmond, South Side. So it was off Hull Street. I forget the name of the apartment complex, but we paid $1,400 a month. It's $1,400 a month. It's more than my mortgage for an apartment back then. And now it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It was a nice apartment, second floor, one entrance, private entrance to the apartment and shit. But we were there, and then X Band disbanded, and it was awful because you logged. There was no warning, like nobody had email at the time, so you log onto the game one day, and the opening screen is "Welcome to X Band," and then the next screen was X Band has closed all servers. Thank you for your patronage, and it was just done. That was it. There was no reconciliation. There was no reason why. There was nobody to call and bitch at. It was over. It was done. Like when Omegle went away. It was like you just got a rest in peace screen when Omegle was gone, right? He gave you a reason why, but X-Band didn't. So it was like, fuck. How do I get my fix now of online gaming? Well, Sega Dreamcast solved that problem. Yes, they did. So Sega Dreamcast came out. It was a white console with a lid, CD games on them. They had a modem built into it. Now, they were using X-Band technology. I don't know if Sega bought X-Band or something like that and was using it for the next console, but they used it, and it was a very limited number of games you could play on there. Hockey, you could still do hockey, but you could do like NASCAR, shit like that. The fighting games were still there, but the servers weren't as big. The costs were still there. It was still through a phone line. And it just wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same. And then you had to wait forever for a match because there just wasn't that many people. They didn't really market it very well. So those servers shut down. And then right about then is when everybody started getting home computers, and that's when AOL came out. So everybody was able to get online with AOL, or Netscape was another version of an online browser. There was a third one, and I can't remember who it was. But mostly everybody used AOL. The minority used Netscape, and then you had a small percentage was using a third. And AOL was basically free to get, but you still had to pay a month. It was something like, I think it was like $10 a month or something when it started. But it was an online web browser, kind of like Firefox or Google. Or what's the other Microsoft, what is it, Edge? What's it called? Yeah, Microsoft Edge. And I didn't use it for, you had email, you could browse websites. It was through the phone line. It was slow as shit. There was still no internet. There wasn't like high powered internet that you could plug into your computer. It was through a phone line. So somebody called your house, you were fucked. You were booted off, right? Till the phone call was over. And my girlfriend at the time, her mother liked to call all the fucking time for stupid shit.